Hello, my name is Greg McKnight. I am the RapidRide I Line line lead. And in this presentation, I will give an overview of the RapidRide I Line, including some background and explanation of proposed design features. So what is RapidRide? RapidRide is Metro's highest level of investment in service, speed and reliability, and innovation. As South King County continues to add people and jobs, Metro is committed to making sure residents and businesses in Renton, Kent, and Auburn have a transportation system that meets your needs. This is why Metro is building the RapidRide I Line. The RapidRide I Line will give riders better connections, buses that come more frequently, and an easy-to-use service. We estimate that RapidRide I Line will connect 14,000 residents to the places they want to live, work, shop, and play every day. That is about 6,000 more daily riders than the routes I Line will be upgrading served before the pandemic. We are designing RapidRide I Line to meet community needs. This means adding sidewalk improvements, crossing and signal improvements, and easy-to-board buses to create better, safer access. RapidRide I Line will also be more comfortable and convenient, with buses that come every 10 minutes at peak, and most stations will provide real-time arrival information and lighting, as well as a dry place to wait for the bus. I recognize that this may be the first time you are hearing about RapidRide I Line, so I want to take you through some of the outreach we have done since April 2019 and how it has helped inform design. Outreach for RapidRide I Line was centered on those most likely to use the service. That included users of routes 169 and 180, which were combined to form the current Route 160, and those most likely to be transit dependent. We also reached the broader community through events, posters in community gathering places, an online and in-person survey drive, and through 3 different online open houses. The feedback collected helped us determine the route, where we needed to place stations, and what kinds of projects we needed to prioritize to make it easier and safer to get to the bus. So in our design, we planned a route that connects neighborhoods to community assets like shopping centers, medical facilities, community centers, and are adding more evening and weekend service. Roadway and intersection projects that help buses move through traffic easier, added lighting, shelters, and benches at as many stations as possible, a route with easy connections to Sounder, Link Light Rail, and local bus routes, and added sidewalks improvements, curb ramps, new crosswalks, pedestrian activated crossing signals, and in some places, bike lanes. The route and station locations were also identified in consultation with underserved community members. There are 3 major elements to the RapidRide I Line project. First, stations. Metro will invest in enhanced station areas for passengers. Next, access projects, where Metro is committed to improving access for people walking, rolling, and biking to stations. And speed and reliability. Metro will build roadway and signal improvements to help the bus move faster and be more reliable. Between building stations, access projects, and roadway and intersection projects, Metro is going to be doing a lot of work in Renton, Kent, and Auburn over the next couple of years. I'm going to go over our plans at a high level in this presentation, but you can find more detail at our online open house at rapidrideiline.com, which I encourage you to take a look at if you have not already. RapidRide stations. Since stations are spaced further apart than traditional bus stops, usually about 1/3 to 1/2 mile apart, Metro worked with community members to ensure station locations help us meet community priorities for RapidRide. So we picked station locations that are in areas where there are likely to be higher number of riders, near connections to other transit options, and near community resources like medical facilities, community centers, schools, and shopping. New stations are designed using a principle called crime prevention through environmental design to maximize safety and encourage appropriate behavior. For example, RapidRide station shelters are open, transparent, and well lit, as you can see from the graphic. Metro is building 21 RapidRide stations in Renton. This is our proposed station map for Renton. These orange dots with numbers represent the RapidRide stations, and the gray circles with X's represent where we are planning on removing existing stops. We have 37 RapidRide stations planned in Kent, as shown in this map. And then in Auburn, we have 18 stations, as seen on this map. I know those dots were hard to see, so for more detail, visit RapidRideILine.com. On the website, you'll be able to zoom in and see the stations you're looking for. There are 4 types of stations that we will be building. Tier 1 large stations, like this one in front of Kent High School, serve over 350 people per day. Tier 1 large stations have the most passenger amenities, such as 2 shelters, a bench, a leaning rail, pedestrian level lighting, and real-time information. We are proposing 8 Tier 1 large stations in Kent. Tier 1 stations, like this one, serve 150 to 350 people per day and consist of a shelter, a bench, a leaning rail, pedestrian level lighting, and real-time information signage. There are 6 Tier 1 stations planned for Renton, 11 for Kent, and 11 for Auburn. Tier 2 stations, like this one, serve between 50 and 149 people per day, with fewer amenities but still have community priorities, such as a shelter, bench, pedestrian level lighting, and real-time arrival information. There are 4 Tier 2 stations planned for Renton, 13 for Kent, and 7 for Auburn. Tier 3 stations, like this one, serve between 25 and 49 people per day. You can see that these are much more simple. They don't have a shelter or real-time information, but they still will have a bench, pedestrian level lighting, and a flag identifying the route. There are 2 Tier 3 stations planned for Renton and 5 in Kent. Tier 3 low stations, like this one, serve fewer than 25 people per day and are our lowest profile station tier. They will have a concrete pad and a flag that identifies the route. In Renton, there are 8 Tier 3 low stations planned. Metro is also committed to improving access for people walking, rolling, and biking to stations. Access projects make it easier and safer to get to and from the bus. These include things like putting in curb ramps, filling in missing portions of sidewalks, adding crosswalks, pedestrian islands and pedestrian signals, like you see in the image, and in some cases, adding bike lanes. These are all projects that will not only improve access to the bus, but also to businesses on and near the route. As with the station locations, Metro worked closely with city staff and community members to determine where and what kinds of access projects to prioritize. The project shown here is in Renton and gives you a good idea of the kind of access projects that we are planning in Renton, Kent, and Auburn. You can see that we are adding a crosswalk and a signal so that pedestrians can alert cars that they are crossing. And this is a very simple pedestrian island that gives pedestrians a safe place to wait for cars to pass. An important aspect of Metro's rapid ride lines is that they generally move faster and are more reliable than other lines. One way that Metro accomplishes this is to work with cities to make changes to intersections and roadways to help buses move through traffic. These include building business access and transit lanes, which we call BAT lanes, which prioritize buses while maintaining access to businesses for customers, and adding transit-only signals to give buses a priority green light. Some of these speed and reliability projects will just be a matter of restriping the road and upgrading signals, and others will require widening the roadway on one side or the other. In Renton, Metro is building transit priority projects in two main areas that see heavy congestion today: South Grady Way and Talbot Road South, and Southeast Carr Road and 108th Avenue Southeast in Benson Hill. In Kent, Metro is planning 5 speed and reliability projects at the intersections listed here. And in Auburn, Metro is planning 2 speed and reliability projects on Auburn Way North at 15th Street Northeast and at 8th Street Northeast. Here's our current timeline for this project. Of course, all dates for future milestones are subject to change. Currently, our plan is to finalize design in the next year and begin construction soon after. You can contact Michelle Wynn, our RapidRide Communications and Engagement Manager, or I if you have any other questions using the phone number and email address here. You can also visit our website, RapidRideILine.com, for more information. We'll be collecting community feedback on that website throughout the design of the project, so be on the lookout over the next year or so.